Good day, good people, and welcome to Whiskey and Smoke News Network, your weekly whiskey, cigar, pipe, and pipe tobacco program, where we cover the news, new releases, upcoming events, and we throw in an interview with someone in the industry or someone who is industry adjacent for good measure. We may sometimes get a bit cheeky. We may even at times be a bit scholarly, but providing you with some entertaining content for the next hour or so is our ultimate goal. With all of that being said, please remember that you must be the appropriate age in your home country to watch or listen to this program, which is usually 18 or 21. So if you're not of the appropriate age in your home country, please stop watching or listening to the program now, but please do come back to the program when you are of the appropriate age. This is episode 17 for April 5th, 2026. My name is Chris Kumnick, and I'll be your host. Let's go ahead and take a little sneak peek of this week's Pop the Cork in-person interview with Dr. Don Livermore of J.P. Weiser in Windsor, Ontario. We talk about how he got his start in the whiskey industry, the genius that is Canadian whiskey, as well as a blend of other topics. Let's take a look.
Yeah, the best way I can describe it is that Home Depot. You go to Home Depot or any paint shop, doesn't matter, just it was the first to come to my mind. They go up and they grab that paint can and it's white and they bring it down and they add their inks and they shake it up and make their color whatever they want it to be and be creative. That's Canadian whiskey. And I think that's what makes us very unique in that sense. If I was going by the bourbon whiskey category, for example, where they put the grains and the mash bills together at the start, that means if you're in that Home Depot or in that paint shop, you'd have to have every variant of blue already made, or every green or yellow, whatever color you're going to make. Yes. Once you put the ink in the can, you can't take it back.
All of that and more with Dr. Don Livermore. But first, the news. In some of the biggest news to come out of the spirits business this year so far, Pernod Ricard and Brown-Forman, owner of Jack Daniels, has confirmed that they are in discussions about a potential merger of equals. The talks announced on March 26, 2026 follow market speculation and could create a major global spirits leader by combining Pernod Ricard's broad portfolio, including Jameson, Absolut, and Beefeater, with Brown-Forman's iconic American whiskey brands such as Jack Daniels and Woodford Reserve. Both companies highlighted expected significant synergies, enhanced scale, a powerful combined brand portfolio, and a balanced geographic footprint anchored by two family-owned businesses. However, they emphasize that no agreement has been reached, there is no certainty a deal will be finalized, and they will not comment further unless or until an agreement is made or discussions end. Now, as you know, I usually do not comment too much on the stories as we go along, but this one's a bit different. Both companies put out almost the exact same press release at the exact same time, which makes me think that it is not an if merger, but a when merger. We will keep you abreast of any new announcements moving forward. Milam and Green Whiskey and Azamara Cruises have launched Bourbon Quest, an experiment aging a single barrel aboard the Azamara Quest during a 188-night 2027 world cruise to study the impact of maritime climate on maturation. Master distiller Marlene Holmes and her team will compare the sea-aged whiskey named the Seafarer with 3 control barrels aging on land in Texas, Kentucky, and Florida. The experiment, which explores how ocean motion and humidity influence flavor and oak extraction, will conclude with a limited release of 400 bottles exclusive to Azamara guests. Kiyokawa Distillery has released its inaugural single malt, The Cask, First Edition, a 61.1% ABV, 398-bottle limited release produced from 100% homegrown barley and matured for 3 years in an ex-Pedro Jimenez sherry cask. Debuted in Nagano City, this 100% farm-to-glass sustainable whiskey features locally sourced ingredients and packaging, highlighting a dedication to Japanese terroir. More information on this release is available on the Kiyokawa Distillery website. Glencadam Distillery has updated its premium packaging for 3 cask-finished single malts, the Oloroso Sherry, Tawny Port, and White Port Reserva expressions, featuring a hand-drawn illustrations by artist Andrew Davidson, that depict the distillery as it appeared in 1825. This rollout also marks the return of the previously unavailable tawny and white port finishes to the permanent lineup, each retailing for approximately $58. The refreshed design highlights the brand's history and commitment to natural craft, including an embossed water wheel motif on the bottles to create a cohesive global identity. Yeast's Irish whiskey has launched its debut expression, the Lake Isle of Innisfree, a premium limited edition of 4,000 bottles inspired by the legacy of poet W.B. Yeats. Inspired over a decade by founder Patrick Ward, the whiskey is a unique blend of grain and malt spirits aged to 5 to 7 years and finished in ruby port casks to add distinctive red fruit notes. Bottled at 43% ABV, this release marks the start of a planned series where each future bottling will be named after a Yeats poem. The brand aims to celebrate Irish cultural heritage through traditional craft and storytelling as it joins the growing wave of high-end Irish whiskeys. Foley Family Wines and Spirits has launched Gambit No. 6, a complex 6-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon crafted by master distiller Chip Tate. This unique 92-proof whiskey underwent an intricate finish process using 6 different barrel types, including Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Apple Brandy, Muscatel, Oloroso Sherry, and Tokai casks. The result is a non-chill filtered bourbon that balances traditional baking spices with layers of cacao, sweet tobacco, and ripe fruit. Priced at $69.99, Gambit No. 6 is now available in select states and represents the latest high-end innovation from the partnership between the former Balcones founder and the Foley luxury wine portfolio. Ardbeg has announced the limited edition Ardbeg Dolce as the centerpiece for this year's Ardbeg Day on May 30th, celebrating the distillery's signature smoke with a sweet life Italian twist. The single malt blends classic bourbon-aged whiskey with spirit matured in Marsala Dolce casks, resulting in a peaty paradox featuring notes of apricot, dark chocolate, and salted nuts. Priced at £85, the bottling will be available to Ardbeg committee members early on May 26th before its global release. The accompanying festivities will embrace a 1960s Italian cinema theme, blending Mediterranean glamour with Islay's rugged heritage through music, food, and retro games. James B. Beam Distilling Company has launched Knob Creek Blenders Edition No. 1, the first in a new limited edition series designed to showcase the artistry of whiskey blending. This inaugural release is a 10-year-old bourbon bottled at 106 proof, hand-selected by master distiller Freddie No, to highlight a sweeter flavor profile featuring notes of vanilla bean and confectionery sweetness. Priced at $44.99, the expression is now available nationwide and marks a new chapter for the brand's super premium portfolio. Future releases in the series will continue to explore different dimensions of the Knob Creek character, offering enthusiasts a deeper look into the deliberate craft behind each blend. Nika Whiskey has launched the Mia Gicchio single malt 10-year-old in the UK, marking the first age statement released from the distillery since 2016. Distributed by Specialty Brands and priced at £149 per bottle, this 45% ABV expression signals a strategic return of the aged Japanese stocks to the international market following years of industry-wide shortages. The whiskey features tropical notes of pineapple and mango with a spiced caramelized finish, housed in an updated forest green packaging that reflects the distillery's mountain surroundings. This release follows the 2022 return of the Yochi 10-year-old, further solidifying Nika's effort to restore its premium aged lineup for enthusiasts and collectors. Hard Truth Distilling Company has launched its French Oak Finished Bourbon as the first entry in the 2026 Barrel Finish Reserve Series. This 106.1 proof expression blends 2 distinct sweet mash bourbons that were finished in a medium plus toast French oak casks, then returned to their original barrels for final mellowing. The result is a velvety whiskey featuring complex notes of apricot, jam, honey, and buttered toffee with a spiced rye finish. Now available at the distillery's Nashville, Indiana campus for a limited run, the bourbon is set to roll out to the select retailers in the coming weeks. Talisker has unveiled Talisker Magma 47-year-old, an ultra-rare single malt Scotch finished in an American oak casks toasted using heated volcanic rocks from the Isle of Skye. Limited to just 622 bottles with a price tag of $5,250, this expression uses an innovative heat rotation technique to avoid direct combustion, resulting in a flavor profile that balances the brand's signature maritime smoke and chilly warmth with deep layers of fruit and volcanic spice. The whiskey is presented in 100% recycled glass bottle featuring a gradient design with a hand-sculpted obsidian-inspired stopper. It will be available through luxury retailers and private client teams across the UK, US, and global travel hubs. Angel's Envy has announced a dual cask strength release for 2026, featuring its annual cask strength bourbon, along with the debut of a 10-year-old cask strength rye. The bourbon, priced at $249.99, is the distillery's oldest Kentucky straight bourbon to date, and was finished for 3 years in a ruby port barrels using Solera-inspired process. Joining it is the brand's first age-stated rye, a $269.99 expression that blends spirits distilled in 2013 and 2015 with up to 4 years of finishing in Caribbean rum casks. Both high-proof whiskeys will be available in premium packaging starting April 17th, with the rye remaining a U.S. exclusive while the bourbon sees a limited international release. Brothers Phil and Simon Thompson have secured another $1.57 million in government funding to construct Struy Distillery in Dornoch, Scotland, an ambitious project aimed at becoming one of UK's largest carbon-neutral distilleries. Building on the success of their original Dornoch distillery, this new cutting-edge facility will be powered entirely by renewable energy, including solar arrays and high-efficiency heat pumps. The site will boast a production capacity 10 times larger than their current operation, reaching 400,000 liters of alcohol annually, and will feature integrated bottling, warehousing, and a visitor center expected to draw 15,000 people a year. By demonstrating that electrified net zero production is cost competitive with natural gas, the Thompson brothers hope to provide a sustainable footprint for the entire Scotch whiskey industry. Independent bottler Duncan Taylor Scotch Whiskey is opening its doors to the public for the first time during the 2026 Spirit of Speyside Festival, running from April 29th to May 4th. The exclusive bottler archive experience, priced at £200, offers a rare behind-the-scenes look at the company's cooperage and a guided tasting of whiskeys from 5 different decades, including a 60s dram from the closed Caperdonic distillery. Additionally, the brand will host a $30 Would We Lie to You evening event where guests must guess the true characteristics of different spirits from the Octave portfolio. These limited access events serve as potential launchpad for future public experiences, showcasing some of the rarest malts from the firm's extensive Huntley-based archives. Skye-based distillery Torabeg has introduced Tay, its first permanent single malt expression designed to define the distillery's smoke with taste house style with a profile of vanilla and toasted almonds. Bottled at 46% ABV, this small batch whiskey is matured in bourbon and Madeira casks and features a collaboration with Scottish poet Iona Lee to celebrate the spirit of its Sleat Peninsula home. Tay is now available globally for £40 or about $52 per bottle. And finally, Gallo has finalized the acquisition of Four Roses Bourbon from Kirin Holdings, returning the brand to U.S. family ownership and strengthening Gallo's premium spirits portfolio. The existing team and master distiller Brent Elliott will remain in place, ensuring continuity in production while enabling global growth for the brand. Now, in cigar news, JRE Tobacco Company is rebranding its Camp Aladino trio of 4.5 by 60 cigars as Gorbusto by Aladino, featuring new chimpanzee-themed identities for its existing blends, while the original Cameroon, Corojo, and Maduro wrappers remain the same. They are now represented by 3 characters: the bold Gory, the complex chimp, and the creative orangutan. The cigars will remain at their $11 price point and are expected to arrive in stores this April following the debut at 2026 PCA Convention. Additionally, the company teased that the Camp Aladino name will return this summer with an entirely new blend and size. 5 years after its debut in February 2021, Miami Cigar and Company is releasing a second batch of the Nestor Miranda Private Reserve this summer. The cigar remains unchanged at a 6 3/4 by 40 Lancero, handmade by La Aurora in the Dominican Republic, featuring a Dominican Corojo wrapper, Nicaraguan Criollo 98 binder, and fillers from Brazil, the Dominican Republic, and Nicaragua. It will carry the same MSRP of $18 per cigar, with production strictly limited to 500 boxes of 10 cigars each. Nestor Miranda, co-founder of Miami Cigar and Company, highlighted his personal love for the elegant Lancero format, noting it's simply the cigar he enjoys most. The 2026 edition will be previewed to retailers at the PCA Convention and Trade Show in New Orleans and is expected to ship to stores this summer. Fratello Cigars is entering the flavored cigarello category with its new Camo Cigarellos line, a collection of four 4x30 vitolas made at La Aurora in the Dominican Republic. The lineup includes Blue Lush, Ruby Glow, Island Green, and Golden Bee. Each flavor is packaged in 10-count tins and priced at $19.99. The company has not yet released blend details. Owner Amar De Freyas noted that release responds to customer demand for innovation and aims to stand out at retail while expanding the popular Camo line, which launched in 2020 and later added the sweetened Camo Connecticut Sweet. Fratello will preview the Camo Cigarellos at the PCA trade show next week, with shipping scheduled for August 1st through national distributor Smoker Friendly. Cavalier Genevieve is refreshing its small batch series by discontinuing the previous 4 limited production vitolas, Black No. 2 and White Series Lanceros and Salamones, and introducing an entirely new lineup. The revamped series begins with 2 new cigars sharing the same blend, a Honduran wrapper, Nicaraguan Alapa binder, and Nicaraguan Paraguayan fillers, all handmade at the company's factory in Danlí, Honduras. The new releases are the small batch Salamones, a 7x50 to 58, and small batch Lancero, which is a 7x38. Founder Sebastian Ducopet explained that maintaining constant availability of complex shapes had become unsustainable, so the company is going back to basics to better honor the uniqueness and craftsmanship required. In addition to these 2 cigars, the 4 Project Broadleaf lines from last year and the new Project 10th Anniversary will now fall under the small batch series. Both new cigars will be previewed at the PCA convention next week in New Orleans. Altadis USA is following up last year's ultra-premium Monte Cristo 1935 Anniversary Edición Doble Diamante with a new version called Monte Cristo 1935 Anniversary Edición Doble Diamante Red, arriving in stores later this month. The cigar is a 6.5 by 54 Toro Extra, featuring an all Nicaraguan medium to full blend, made with aged tobacco from AJ Fernandez's Finca La Lilia and San Lotano farms in Esteli, primarily from the farm's first and second harvests. Produced at the main AJ Fernandez factory, each cigar carries a $150 per stick price tag, justified by the extended aging of the premium leaf. Production is extremely limited to just 5,000 cigars, packaged in 250 glossy red and white boxes of 20. The new release will be displayed for retailers at the 2026 PCA convention in New Orleans and will ship immediately afterward. Rafael Nodal, VP of Product Capability of Tabacalera USA, described it as a continuation of the line's pursuit of perfection, delivering remarkable depth, richness, and balance while honoring Monte Cristo's tradition of elegance. McAuliffe Cigars will debut its first mixed filler cigar next month with the new Color Blend Bundles, the latest addition to its color series. These cigars feature a Sumatra wrapper and Nicaraguan binder surrounding a filler made from trimmings of the other color series lines, black, blue, green, purple, red, and white, and are produced at the company's factory in Nicaragua. 2 vitolas will be offered in 20-count bundles. The Color Blend Bundles number 2, which is a 6x52, will be $5 each, and the Color Blend Bundle 660, which is a 6x60 vitola, and will be priced at $6.60 each. The 6x60 size is new for the color series, which normally sticks to a 6x52 Toros and 5x52 Robustos. The bundles will be showcased to retailers at the PCA convention next week. Grey Cliff will release a new taster sampler next month featuring a 3x38 petite versions of 6 of its core lines: Double Espresso, Chateau Grand Cru, Cristal, Espresso, G2, and Heritage Royale. The short Vitola is designed for a quick 10 to 15 minute smoke during lunch breaks or busy moments, while also giving newcomers an easy way to sample the brand's range. Each taster cigar uses the same blend as its full-size counterpart and is produced at Grey Cliff's factory in Nassau, Bahamas. In addition to retail samplers, the company will use them in pairing and tasting sessions at its on-site lounge. Production will be ongoing to meet expected demand, with pricing still to be finalized. The taster sampler will debut at the PCA trade show next week and begin shipping to retailers immediately afterward. Black Label Trading Company will release a new blend called Macabre next month. The cigar features a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, an Ecuadorian Habano binder, and Nicaraguan fillers, and is produced at the company's Fabrica Oveja Negra factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. It will debut in 3 vitolas with a distinctive Rabito cap, Robusto at 5x50, Corona Gorda at 5.5x46, and Toro, which is a 6x50, with limited production of 800 boxes for each of the Robusto and Toro and 650 boxes for the Corona Gorda. James Brown, creator of the Black Label Trading Company, describes Macabre as rich, dark, and elegant, offering a perfect balance of strength and flavor with earthy floral notes and bold spice on the retrohale. Order will be taken first come, first served basis at the PCA trade show and begin shipping immediately afterward. Segovia Esteli Cigars is expanding its Habano Oscuro line with 2 new sizes that will debut at the PCA trade show. The limited production Lancero 7.5x38 is capped at 1,500 boxes of 21 cigars per year and is priced at $12.50 each cigar. The company says the thin ring gauge highlights the Ecuadorian Habano 2000 Oscuro wrapper for a focused and elegant smoke. The regular production Toro, which is a 6x54, offers a broader, more immersive experience while keeping the line's signature balance and is priced at $13.50 each. Both new sizes use the same blend, an Ecuadorian Habano 2000 Oscuro wrapper, over 2 Nicaraguan binders and Nicaraguan fillers from multiple regions, aged for 6 years total, and will begin shipping shortly after the trade show. The company is also introducing updated, more refined packaging for the entire Segovia's line. Jake Wyatt Cigar Company has launched the Titan series, a new approachable everyday premium line designed to deliver strong value while maintaining excellent construction, balance, and complexity. The series consists of 3 blends made at Tabacalera San Geronimo in Danlí, Honduras, all using a Honduran binder, Honduran Nicaraguan fillers with different undisclosed origin wrappers. Goliad, Clado wrapper, is a smooth, clean, and balanced with medium body. Colossus, a Scoto wrapper, is darker, richer, medium full with notes of earth, cocoa, and spice. And Omega, Rosado wrapper, offers an elegant, layered profile with sweetness and spice sitting between the other 2. Each cigar is available in a 5x50 Robusto and a 6x54 Toro, and packaged in 30-count display trays. The release is part of a broader re-engineering of the brand's lineup using Honduran and Nicaraguan tobaccos for improved consistency and refinement. The Titan series began shipping this last Monday and will be on display at the PCA convention next week. Speaking of the PCA, the Premium Cigar Association has acquired the Cigar Academy, an online cigar education platform originally launched in early 2024 by Ricardo Carioni and Thomas Greisen. The platform currently offers 2 courses, a 1-hour introductory course for $50 and a more comprehensive level 1 course for $250 that spans 1 to 3 months, along with a history of hosting offline seminars and events. Under PCA ownership, the Cigar Academy will expand as the centerpiece of the association's growing education efforts, with planned additions including an online version of its executive seminar previously held at FIU a dedicated retailer-focused curriculum, and an in-person training at cigar factories and tobacco farms in the U.S. and abroad. Ricardo Carioni now serves as the PCA's Director of International Affairs and Education. Terms of the acquisition were not disclosed. Warped Cigars is bringing back one of its rarest releases this fall, the Maestro del Tiempo 6102R, a 5.25 by 48 Nicaraguan Puro made at the Aganorsa factory in Nicaragua. The cigar features a Jalapa Corojo 99 wrapper and a filler blend of Criollo 98 and Corojo 99, with the line also incorporating Medio Tiempo tobacco from Esteli. It will carry an MSRP of $15 per cigar, with a total production of 40,000 cigars packaged in 100-count cabinets. Originally debuting in 2016 alongside the regular Maestro del Tiempo line and released in 2020 and re-released in 2020, this marks the third appearance of the 6102R. The new version will debut at the 2026 PCA convention and trade show later this month, with boxes scheduled to ship to stores in the fall. Domaine Cigars has announced its first Connecticut wrapped cigar, Attenuation, featuring an Ecuadorian Connecticut seed wrapper over a Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan fillers that include Vanguard Aegis, a hybrid tobacco developed by the company by crossing the Corojo and Criollo 98. The line will be offered in 3 vitolas, a Toro Extra 6x52, Toro Gordo a 6x56, and His Eminence a 6x54 Bellicoso with a shaggy foot. All cigars are produced at Tabacalera Familia Disla S.A. in Esteli, in Nicaragua. Esteban Disla is co-founder of the Domaine Cigars, expressed his long-standing passion for Connecticut tobacco, and noted that Attenuation has impressed even his wife, Flor. The release also marks the company's first use of a holographic band. For the 15th consecutive year, Quesada Cigars is releasing its limited edition Quesada Oktoberfest 2026, a cigar designed to pair with Marzen-style Oktoberfest beer. It features a Mexican San Andreas wrapper over a Dominican binder and Dominican fillers, the same blend used for the past 6 years, and is produced at Tabacos de Exportacion factory in Dominican Republic. The 2026 edition returns with the same 5 vitolas as 2025. The Bavarian, 5.5 by 52, Das Boot, 6 by 52, Uber, 6 by 65, Kaiser Ludwig, 6 by 49, and the distinctive Solomon Press, a 6 3/4 by 50 by 33 double perfecto. All packaged in 10-count boxes with prices up $1 to $3.50 from last year. Production is limited to 500 boxes. This will be the final year using the current packaging, with next year's release featuring an all-new look and the company's updated logo. Patricia Quesada, co-owner, highlighted the milestone as especially meaningful because it was one of the first blends developed with the 5th generation of the Quesada family. The cigars will be previewed at the PCA convention next week in New Orleans and are expected to ship to stores in September. Gurkha Cigar Group is releasing Tres Décadas to honor Juan Lopez, its vice president of sales, for his 3 decades in the cigar industry. The cigar features an Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper, a Nicaraguan Jalapa binder, and an all-Nicaraguan filler blend, Condega, Viso, Esteli, Ligero, and Ometepe Seco, made in Nicaragua with aged long filler tobaccos. It is offered in 3 vitolas, a Robusto at 5 by 52, a Toro 6 by 50, and Gordo 6.5 by 56. All in 10-count boxes, with production limited to 1,000 boxes per size. The blend was developed to reflect Lopez's philosophy of quality, patience, and respect for the craft. Lopez described the project as a meaningful milestone that captures what he has learned over his career. The cigars will also debut at the PCA convention next week in New Orleans. The Tatuaje Exclusive Series 2026 Tuxtla has begun shipping to retailers across the country. As the name suggests, it features a Mexican San Andreas wrapper from the Los Tuxtlas region, while the full blend details remain undisclosed. The cigar follows Tatuaje's typical construction with a double Nicaraguan binder and all Nicaraguan filler. It is offered in 20-count boxes at $15 per cigar. The Vitola measures approximately 5 5/8 by 54, features a soft box press, and has a closed foot. My Father Cigars has announced a new line called La Lealtad, Spanish for loyalty. Though the company has released very few details so far, the only confirmed information is that the cigars are being produced at its recently opened factory in Honduras. Social media posts show that the line in a deep red color scheme and a 6x54 Toro Vitola, but no other sizes, blend information, or release date were provided. The company's messaging emphasizes where legacy starts with loyalty and tradition. More details are expected to be retailed next week at the PCA convention. Ashton has introduced the San Cristobal Golden Hour, a new regular production cigar inspired by the beautiful golden hour time of day. It features a Cuban seed Ecuadorian wrapper over Nicaraguan tobaccos from Condega, Esteli, Alapa, and Nomanji maybe. Don't know. All grown on Garcia family farms and rolled at My Father's Cigars S.A. in Nicaragua. The medium full blend is described as offering notes of cedar, cinnamon, coffee bean, molasses, and spice. It debuts in 6 vitolas, 4 of them box pressed, a Magico 5.5 by 50, Bonito 6 by 52, Angelico 7 by 49, Dorado 6 1/8 by 52 Pyramide, Ocaso a 6 by 60, and Pacifico a 6.5 by 64, all in 25 count boxes. Ashton will preview the Golden Hour at the 2026 PCA Convention and Trade Show in New Orleans next week, with shipping expected this summer. For the first time in its 15-year history, HVC Cigars is releasing a Lancero, the HVC 500 Years Lancero Only Legends, a 7.5 by 38 size made entirely of Nicaraguan tobaccos. It features a Jalapa Corojo 99 wrapper, a Jalapa binder, and a filler blend of Criollo 98 and Corojo 99, the same blend as the regular production HVC 500 Years line, introduced in 2019 to mark the 500th anniversary of Havana, Cuba. Each cigar carries an MSRP of $12.80, with production strictly limited to 500 boxes of 10 cigars. The cigars will be available exclusively to retailers who place orders at the PCA convention and are scheduled to arrive in stores by Father's Day on June 21st. HVC describes it as delivering great flavor, balanced construction, and a clean finish. Toscano is bringing its Terra cigar to the U.S. market this month after it was previously available only in Italy. The cigar is made entirely from 100% Italian Kentucky tobacco grown in Tuscany, Lazio, and Campania, featuring a dark fired cured Tuscan wrapper. It comes in a unique 6 3/10 by 38 format with tapers at both the head and foot, designed to deliver a full, structured smoking experience that highlights the spiciness of Valtabarina tobacco, the sharpness of Pontecorvo tobacco, and the distinctive notes of Benevento tobacco. Each cigar is priced at $7.50 with 30-count boxes at $225 per box. Terra will be available for retailers to start ordering April 17th and will ship immediately, with the cigar also being showcased at, guess what? The PCA Convention and Trade Show. Plasencia has created a special cigar for the second consecutive World Cup, the Plasencia Trinifal, a 6 1/4 by 54 Toro Extra. It features a wrapper from Finca La Tradicion in Honduras, Jamastran Valley, a binder from Finca San Agustin in Alancho, Honduras, and fillers from Finca La Tradicion and Alapa, Nicaragua. The entire limited production of 5,000 numbered 10-count boxes was hand-rolled by a single pair of rollers at the Tabacos de Oriente factory in Danlí, Honduras. Each cigar carries an MSRP of $60. Jose Luis Plasencia described Triunfal as representing unity, resilience, and celebration, honoring life's memorable moments and the spirit of the World Cup. The cigar is said to offer notes of toffee, cedar, creaminess, toasted almonds, molasses, and earth. And guess what? It's going to be showcased at the 2026 PCA Convention and Trade Show next week. And guess what? I'm going to be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. There's so many cigars to look over and talk to people about. So I'm just ecstatic. Anyway, back to the news. Sorry about that. El Mago Cigars has announced the James Avenue, a new addition to its core lineup inspired by the James Hotel on James Avenue in Miami Beach, once owned by founder Nick Fusco's grandfather. The release features 4 6 by 54 box-pressed Toro cigars, Connecticut, Habano, Maduro, and Sumatra wrappers, though full blend details have not yet been disclosed. Each cigar carries an MSRP of $11 and will be packaged in 20-count boxes with production handled by the MGE Cigars factory in Esteli, Nicaragua. Fusco launched El Mago in 2022 to honor his grandparents Maria and Gonzalo Torre, who died in the Surfside condominium collapse. The James Avenue line is scheduled to debut at the 2026 PCA Convention and Trade Show in New Orleans, though shipping dates have not yet been announced. And finally, Espinosa Premium Cigars will debut 8 new products at the 2026 PCA Convention and Trade Show in New Orleans, including both regular production releases and limited editions. Highlights include the 601 Blue 20th Anniversary, a 6 3/4 by 58 limited edition celebrating the line's 2 decades, along with 2 additions to the 601 La Bamba series, the box-pressed Warhead 12 and the Independence Day 2026, commemorating the United States' 250th anniversary. The Las Six Provincias series will expand with MIA, a 6 1/4 by 55 cigar honoring Miami's Cuban influence. The Knuckle Sandwich brand, created with celebrity chef Guy Fieri, will add the milder Avant-Garde and the oval-pressed Chef Special 2026, featuring a Mexican Clado wrapper. Other introductions include a Laranja Hybrid made at La Zona in Esteli with a hybrid wrapper and Brazilian filler, and Entice, a vanilla-infused cigar that replaces the discontinued Zucar sweet tip line. Further details and images are expected ahead of the April 20th to 20 trade show. Now, in upcoming events, the South Wales Whisky Festival will take place on April 11th at the Newport Indoor Market in Newport, Wales. The Premium Cigar Association Trade Show and Convention is once again in New Orleans from April 17th through the 20th, again, of which I will be attending as a member of the press, and I'm very, very much looking forward to it. That same weekend, the Texas Whiskey Festival will take place on April 18th at the Star Hill Ranch in Bee Cave, Texas. The Ultimate Whiskey and Spirits Experience will take place at the Wynn Resort in Las Vegas on April 22nd through the 24th. The Whiskey Fair in Limburg, Germany will take place on April 25th through 26th. The Chicago International Pipe Show will be happening April 30th through May 3rd at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare in Chicago. The Spirit of Speyside Festival will take place April 29th through May 4th, all around the Speyside region of Scotland. Wish I was going. And Whiskey Live Melbourne will take place May 1st and 2nd at St. Kilda Town Hall. The Spirit of Toronto will be held at the Roy Thompson Hall in Toronto on May 9th. Malt Stock Down Under will take place at Ratho Farm in Tasmania, Australia on May 15th. And finally, the Somerton Whiskey Festival will take place at the Lower Red Lion in St. Albans, England on May 16th. And now we move on to our Pop the Cork in-depth interview of the week with Dr. Don Livermore, the master blender at Hiram Walker Distillery and brand home for J.P. Weiser in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. We cover his time before starting at the distillery, what yeast means in the flavors of whiskey, and a whole bunch more. So please sit back, grab a dram, and pour that glass. Pick out a good stick and torch it up. Grab your favorite pipe, pack the bowl with your favorite tobacco, and light away. Then, and only then, listen to the interview. Please, please enjoy. Good day, good people. This is Chris Cumnick again, Whiskey and Smoke News Network, and I'm very lucky to be here in Windsor, Ontario, and I'm getting the chance to speak with Dr. Don Livermore.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I'm excited that you're here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking some time and showing me around. We had a nice little tour earlier, and I figured we'd just sit down and have a little discussion, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we can chat all things Canadian whiskey, one of my favorite topics.
Exactly, perfect. So if you don't mind, let's start off with a little bit about you and your background and how you came into the industry and everything like that.
So I'm Dr. Don Livermore. I'm the master blender for the Hiram Walker Distillery, located in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Certainly the largest distillery in Canada. I've been here at the site since 1996, so I'm just about to celebrate my 30-year anniversary in the distilling industry. I'm not from the region originally. Okay. I moved here for the job. I had a good friend of mine point out, hey, they're hiring a microbiologist at the Hiram Walker Distillery. I interviewed, and I've stayed since that point. So I was the guy that looked after the yeast cells. Okay. in the brewing side of our business for many, many years.
Yep.
And the company has a great educational policy, and I took advantage of it. And I went and did my master's in brewing and distilling it. I did that at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I completed that in 2004. And then I furthered my education and I completed my PhD in brewing and distilling.
Nice.
So one of very few people in the industry with a PhD in brewing and distilling, and comes in handy every day, I must say, to what I'm doing. The actual week I actually defended my PhD was the same week I was promoted as the master blender of the facility. So that's
so cool.
2012. Yeah, it just happened to work out that way. You don't need a PhD to be a master blender, but it actually worked out that way. And we've been making whiskey ever since here. So it's a fantastic job. Lots of responsibility with the site.
Yep.
Not only whiskey is made here, as we talked about earlier. We're making rum, we're making vodkas, we're making gins, we are making liqueurs. It gets to be pretty hectic, and I'm just proud to be master blender of such a wonderful distillery.
Yep.
There's no place like it in the world that's doing all these things under one roof, and it keeps my day interesting every day. Being able to do all this stuff.
That's one thing that I noticed was the different things you do distill here. It is quite a breadth of different things. Most people don't do that.
Yeah, and we'd love to tell the story that we do those things, and we even to make it interesting. When I started, we were making 4 different distillates, and that was it. Today, working with our master distiller, Amy, we are making, I think she last counted like 24, 25 different types of spirits in what we're doing. So we've kept this place busy and flexible. We've been able to pivot, moving to different types of spirits when the market demands it.
Yes.
So then I think this is why we are successful like we are.
Yeah. No, that's so very cool. So little history about, Hiram Walker. I can remember Hiram Walker. I'm 56 this year, so I can remember when there was actual. Let me ask you this first. Is there still a Hiram Walker whiskey made?
There is one left.
Okay.
It's Hiram Walker Special Old. It's only available here in Canada. And that's his longest running Canadian whiskey recipe.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, it's the first one he made, and we continue to make it today. Certainly not as popular as it once was, as brands come and go, but that definitely is sold. And then there's a Hiram Walker liqueur lines as well. So that's continued to be made in the U.S. as well.
I was going to say that's made in the U.S. because I know I was in another store actually this last week, and I'm like, I don't think they make Hiram Walker. And my friend who works there is like, no.
Yeah, there's a Hiram Walker liqueur
right over here. Some liqueurs.
Yeah, those are made in Fort Smith, Arkansas. So there's a facility there that does. And there's so many types of Hiram Walker liqueurs that are readily available.
Okay, so those are not made here, but they're made. But there's still a Hiram Walker. Okay,
as the brand name. Yeah,
got it. Okay.
Now Hiram Walker, the person, he was an American from Boston who moved to Detroit at the age of 22 to run a grocery store, a mercantile shop, they would have called it in that day. And one of the things that Hiram Walker would have done back in that day was sell moonshine from his store.
Yes. Okay.
And I don't know what possessed Hiram Walker to do it, but he would take that moonshine and he'd run it through charcoal.
Okay.
And he became renowned in the region for doing that because charcoal acts like a Brita water filter, and we kind of know what moonshine can taste like, and probably especially in that era, would have been removing a lot of those impurities that we don't like. And he wanted to expand his business. He was an entrepreneur, so he looked south. We're the only Canadian city that touches the U.S. border, that's south of the border. And he bought the property where we are sitting at the moment, 460 acres for £1,300. We were a British colony at the time, and they've been making spirits and whiskey here ever since.
Wow!
And I said that he was the first person in this region. There was only 2 people here when he bought the property, and today it's a bustling city of almost 220,000 people. So this city in Canada was built on whiskey and was built off of Hiram Walker.
Right.
And today the site is making all different kinds of spirits, and we got 450 employees that are working here, continuing his legacy.
Wasn't there actually? It might still be up here. There was a house or maybe the offices.
There's the central office building. That's the oldest.
Grand.
Yeah, that's the oldest building on site.
Okay.
So it was built in 1890 after a Spanish prince design. That's how they designed it, and it's used as office space today. But certainly central. It's a historic building here in the city of Windsor.
I mean, they would have parties and everything out on the everything.
Yeah, they have parties. They used to have lawn bowling way back in the 1890s. And they've had many visitors through the years and stuff. But
correct.
It is certainly an integral part to the city of Windsor and certainly to Canadian life.
Yeah, definitely. So that was, and honestly, this distillery was important. Well, not important, but has its history in our history, the United States history.
Yeah.
And that there might have been some whiskey that made its way across the river during Prohibition.
Oh yeah. Prohibition was most when people talk to me, I'll usually start my master classes that what do you believe grew Canadian whiskey more than any event in history, and 99% of the class, people will raise their hand and Prohibition is what grew Canadian whiskey, but actually it was a detriment to us, to quite honestly. If you think about what COVID did to the bars and restaurants, you lost your customer, and you got your customer pulled away. That's what really happened during Prohibition. It actually caused mass consolidation of brands.
During Prohibition or after Prohibition?
During Prohibition.
Okay.
It caused the 4 largest distilleries in Canada to come together during that time period just because the sales slumped.
Okay, yes. I see what you're saying. Yeah, the sales slumped so much
that
got it. They had to consolidate.
And I will talk about the history of Canadian when we do. We're going to do a class tonight, but I'll talk about that. That's what drove a lot of different brands. So when we sit here and talk about the Hiram Walker Distillery today, we walked around, you saw brands like J.P. Weiser and Lot 40 and Pike Creek. There's a brand called McGuinness, and all those brands came together because of Prohibition.
Okay.
And they're continued to be made here at this distillery. All different recipes and made under different methodology and stuff. Each has its own house style, but that consolidation occurred during Prohibition.
As far as we went through the still house and everything, and then the fermentation room, which is massive. There's we could go into that a little bit too, but we'll go over some numbers because they're pretty staggering, to be honest with you. Have there always been column stills here?
Column stills were designed right around the 1860s.
Coffee was the
they had their own design. Naas Coffee.
He did his own thing on it, right?
Yeah, Naas Coffee, if anyone knows, he was a British excise officer who designed a continuous still in the 1830s. Canadians did the same thing and did their own versions of it. Gooderham and Worts, which is was one of the largest brands in Canada at the turn of the 1900, designed their own still. It was called the Riley patent, and it's the iconography on the back of a Lot 40 bottle today. You actually see the blueprints on that. That was the Riley patent from Gooderham and Worts, and that was his version of the column still.
Right.
Hiram Walker made his versions too.
Yes.
And they all did that right around the 1860 time period. If you've noticed, traditionally, Canadian whiskey tends to be very light in the flavor profile compared to American bourbons or American whiskey or Scotches or Irish whiskeys, because this is what these original producers in Canada were trying to achieve.
Sure.
People did not want to drink moonshine anymore. That's what was being made, and people don't like the flavor profile of that in that area. So these guys, the only way they knew how to make whiskey taste better was the designs of their stills.
Got it. Okay.
So they were distilling through one column still and then through rectifying stills, so multiple times making light whiskey.
Yes.
J.P. Weiser's Deluxe or Canadian Club or 40 Creek or Gibson's. There's lots of brands in Canada that are very light, very smooth, because that is the style Canadian whiskey was trying to achieve during that early period during the 1860s, and we continue to do that today. Yeah. We are starting to see things evolve. We're starting to see different flavor profiles coming out of the Canadian whiskey category as well. We do recognize consumers' taste patterns are changing, and that's the wonderful thing about Canadian whiskey is that we can pivot. They give us latitude as master blenders or master distillers to be able to distill how we want.
Right.
To ferment what we want, to age in what type of barrel what we want. So that leaves a lot of wide open interpretation. And I always think Canadian whiskey is very adaptable.
Yeah.
And it can be very creative. And I think that's the strength of Canadian whiskey is that we can provide all these different variants by doing these things and not be constricted by very specific laws and proof or ways you distill or barrel types. Canadian whiskey is set up to being up to interpretation.
I'm learning that. I truly am. I've had a good education today.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about Andrea.
Yeah.
Gave a nice dissertation at the American Distilling Institute's trade show down in San Antonio this last year. But anyway, so I'm enjoying it. And one thing that I learned and you confirmed it again, because I know at least you guys do it this way. I don't know if all Canadian distilleries do it this way, but you distill 100% corn. You distill 100% rye.
Yeah,
wheat
yeah.
whatever, yeah. And then it allows you, again, I think that what you're getting into is it allows you to be much more flexible.
Yeah, the best way I can describe it is that Home Depot. You go to Home Depot or any paint shop, it doesn't matter, just it was the first to come to my mind. They go up and they grab that paint can and it's white and they bring it down and they add their inks and they shake it up and make their color whatever they want it to be and be creative. That's Canadian whiskey. And I think that's what makes us very unique in that sense. If I was going by the bourbon whiskey category, for example, where they put the grains and the mash bills together at the start, that means if you're in that Home Depot or in that paint shop, you'd have to have every variant of blue already made, or every green or yellow, whatever color you're going to make.
Yes.
Once you put the ink in the can, you can't take it back.
Correct.
And I think that's us. So I can design flavors that match many different whiskey profiles around the world just by separating things from the grains or how the yeast or how it was distilled or the barrel type. The longer I can keep each of those variants separate and then bring it together at the end, that's where blending is beautiful.
Yes.
And you're going to see that tonight. And if your audience who's watching here, if you want to come and learn how to blend whiskey, I call it Blending 101. I'll put 140 different bottles of different types of whiskeys, of different grains, of different ages, of different barrel types, of different distillates, different barrel finishes on the table. You can pick from any of those bottles and you can blend your own whiskey.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it's very, very overwhelming once you see that on the table and you don't know what to do or where to start. But that's the point.
Yes.
That's the point is that you can create complexities. You can create different styles and different things and different variants.
Yeah.
And making whiskey is very complicated. Yeah. I say to think about making whiskey from the very start to the very end in the skill sets you need. You need agronomists. Mm-hmm. You need microbiologists. You need chemical engineers, electrical engineers. You need IT, the computer controlled system now. You need help from finance to know what you're doing to make sure you're creating value to your consumer.
Right.
You need logistics people. You just need so many skills.
Yes.
Making whiskey is very complicated. If you really think about it at the end of the day, and it takes a great team to make great whiskey.
Yes.
It's like the link in the chain. If you got one weak link, the brothers will fall down. And we got world experts here that know what they're doing that make me very look good as the master blender at the end. I can't say enough about them.
Yes.
But their decisions that they make help the final blend make great whiskey.
So there's a local thing in Dallas that he does. He gets a lot of barrels from MGP, brings them into his down to Dallas, and he does a blending experience. But he only gives you three different, and it's again they're already immature and everything like that.
Yeah.
But and trying to just play with three is So
Yeah.
I can only imagine, and I'm still looking forward to tonight, truly.
Yeah.
But 140, you said 140.
Yeah. I mean, you think about the styles of whiskey and what you can do. It's incredible.
Yes.
And those are the ones I only have room for on the table.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really does start with the flavor wheel. If anybody wants to, here it is here.
Yes.
If you want to see it, just Google Don Livermore. You can download this for free. And this is a flavor wheel that I developed that's now trademarked in 170 different countries.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at your camera. I'm looking at my camera. So it is a flavor wheel that it's the way he designed it is amazing. And I'll actually put a PDF on the video so you can see it. But in the center, there's the three things that you have to play with.
That's right.
Which is wood, yeast, and grain.
Yeah, that's really the three things that as a nutshell, as that makes whiskey.
Yes.
I had a boss that once said, "So why aren't you putting distilling? Because distilling is very important, but it's a piece of metal."
Right.
It's not adding the flavor. The flavor is coming from the grain, the yeast, or the wood.
Correct.
And if you look at the second ring of the wheel, that's how I can
Yes.
manipulate those things. So I can change the grains around, or I can burn the casks a certain way, or use different types of wood
Yes.
in Canada, and finish whiskeys and age whiskeys. And yeast is the heartbeat of what we do.
Yes.
It provides most of the flavor in whiskey. Most people don't know that. They always think it's the barrel that provides most of the flavor. It's actually yeast. Yeast is what really provides. It's the heartbeat of what we do. It's why we're here.
Because it can change. It can change your whiskey so much.
Yes, genetics, as we
The
talked
wood
about
gives
today.
you kind of a, especially if it's, let's say, white oak.
Yeah.
It's going to give you usually, you know what's going to, I mean, it's like the vanilla, the caramel.
Wait till we try the cherry barrel tonight.
Yes. Okay.
Wait till we try maple tonight. It is really interesting.
Yes.
Or Japanese oak. You can get different flavor. Mizunara that way. But yeast gives you the fruity, floral, green grass, soapy, sulfur. Sulfur is not a good note. That's how more brewing can go wrong. If you have a skunky beer, skunky wine, that's bad brewing, and that can happen with us too. And we as brewers know how to control that.
Right. Yeah.
We know how to control that by genetics or changing the temperature or pH. Yeast is like human beings. They react differently under different environments. They will too if you treat them right. And it's very, very important. The third ring of the wheel is what our consumers care about.
Yes.
How does your whiskey taste? And if you look at the outside ring of the wheel, that's what I care about, and that's what I measure.
Yes.
That's why I went to do a PhD. So the example I always give, if you look on at around 2 o'clock, or sorry, around 9, 10 o'clock on my flavor wheel, you'll see a compound called isoamyl acetate. It's a banana note. It connects to fruity, connects to yeast. So this flavor wheel explains where the flavor comes from. So if you get a banana flavor in your whiskey, it's coming from the yeast strain you're using. Yeah. If you look at 2 o'clock on the flavor wheel where there's that rye section, you'll see a compound called 4-ethyl guaiacol. That's coming from the grain rye. That's the warm feeling in the chest. You always know how much rye is in a whiskey by how long that warm feeling sticks in your chest.
Okay, so that is true because if
The
you do
Canadian
it,
hub, a Kentucky hub,
Kentucky hub, Canadian hub,
it's the same.
It's a
same
high.
thing.
The higher the rye, the bigger
4-ethyl
the hub.
guaiacol. The bigger the hub, the longer it sticks in your chest.
Fantastic.
So there's ways we can selectively distill for that.
Yes.
Or there's specific varieties of ryes that will give you higher 4-ethyl guaiacol. So those are things I think about at night when I'm designing whiskey, or burning the cask gives you vanilla, or different types of cask gives you different flavors. But this flavor wheel really is, it looks complex when you see it, but it's very simple. It's very simple in terms of what you're doing.
But it's accurate, and it's to me, it's the most informative wheel that I've ever seen. Because you're right, the other ones just have the fruity floor here, and you kind of can draw this little pictograph, and that gives you, the consumer, this is what I tasted then. But yours, now you can, like you said, you can see where it's coming from.
And consumers want that in food in general. Where's the origin of your food coming from, or where's the origin of your flavors coming from? And it's what I can dream up at night is, if I want a whiskey tasting this way, then I know where it's coming from, and how do I achieve that?
Yeah.
How do I achieve that?
So so that's the thing. You could purposely, probably, I'm sure you can, if you truly wanted a very banana forward whiskey, you could achieve that.
I know the boiling point of it. I know where it's coming from. I can select a yeast strain, or I can put the yeast in that environment to do that. I can dampen the amount of wood or the certain styles of grains to make sure the yeast shines. These are the things I think.
You should have a very banana forward whiskey.
Like I got to change the different number of components, so you're not burying the banana flavor either, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there's ways to do that. There are ways to do that. And I think there's some research even going on out there. If you really want to get into it, and I don't think consumers are ready for it yet. Yeah. But wait till you get into if you get into genetically modified yeast strains, right? You can amplify the genes that make that flavor profile. Yeah. That would be an interesting concept. Like I said, I'm not sure if consumers are ready for that today. Yeah. But 50 years, who knows?
Sure. Yeah.
50 years of people ready for that. I'm not sure.
Do you think that there's any? This is a question I've never even asked before. So you're the first person I'm actually, because I am.
You're dreaming of this stuff.
I know I am. I'm like, okay. AI. Do you think that there's? Obviously this is kind of, it is what it is, but is there a way that would even help you come up with stuff? It's a question. I don't know if you've ever even thought.
Well,
about
I'm not
AI in distillation.
I'll come back to the way Canadian whiskey is made.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if AI would help. I'm sure you could, but if I can make things again in isolation as much as I possibly can, I can always come back and blend.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I can always come boost things up and down. So again, if I could get that yeast strain that makes whatever flavor, like a floral flavor, let's say, and I know it's very, very floral, maybe 2 florals a drink, that's okay. Because I can always blend it with something that's very light or to counterbalance it. So I think that's the desire of a blender, is to be able to make those ingredients to make things very, very flexible. So the more I can isolate those things to the outside of the wheel, I think the more powerful you can tailor make your consumers. Now, does AI get down to the point that it knows which component does which that and does the blend for you? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's where I was going with that thought, is that could you actually have these amplified flavors and then AI, again, just like the paint can, could it design a whiskey of this and that for you real quick?
Yeah,
if AI knew its components.
Yeah.
Today I know my components because they're all in my head.
Exactly.
But could AI get to that level? Maybe.
And I'm not saying that to replace a master blender. That's not where I'm going. I'm just saying to help you, actually. Maybe. I don't know. That's
Yeah, I mean, I want a whiskey. Can you custom make a whiskey just for everybody?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like going to the bulk barn. I mean, you can put this together.
What does everybody like? Well, that's a tough question.
Yeah. What makes the best whiskey? I mean, I had that conversation with somebody the other day. It's very subjective.
Very subjective, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I had a conversation with somebody saying, what if we did this and put this environment in the warehouse and make who says what is best? As a blender, that I think that's one thing I got to be very cautious about. Yeah, I like whiskey and I like certain flavors of whiskey, but I'm not making whiskey for me.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not making whiskey for me.
Yes.
I'm making whiskey for Hiram Walker and making it for you, the consumer.
Yeah.
What do you like? And I think the one thing I find with the Blending 101, and you'll see that tonight here, Chris, when people are picking up things, you'll notice that certain ingredients people tend to go to than others. And then I watch that, I see that, and then I say, is this what the consumer is actually looking for?
Right. Or is that really just what...
Or if I see them that are ignoring one altogether, maybe this is not quite what people are looking for.
Well, but that could also be that's not what they haven't had experience with that smell before either. They don't even really know what it is.
Yeah, and
that's 140 different, really kind of, I'm sure there's some that are similar, but that's a good breadth of difference. You know what I mean?
One thing I tell people, though, is you'll see people making their basic whiskey, and then I'll say to them, well, what if you go, I know you didn't like the smell of that, but what if you put 2% of that in?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Then you can see how it layers and how it just gives an interesting note that you didn't really recognize, but it's something else in there and adds a layer of complexity. Yeah. And that's the experience, I think.
It's not going to take over, but it gives it a little bit of something.
That's the experience that I think I bring to the table as a master blender. Is I don't know at what point in history are you really a master blender. I don't know. But I just know our components and our stuff. And when people make the blends tonight, they quite like it. And then I was, why don't you put this in and take that down and move this up and around? You can get a feel for where flavor profiles go for. I think that's where the expertise comes in.
No, that's so very cool. So you mentioned that you did your graduate, we call it graduate studies, at Heriot-Watt in Scotland. Both your master's and your doctorate?
Yep.
Both?
Yep,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that what you've created here, I mean, obviously for single malt, you're using malt and barley. That's it.
Yeah.
Could they still do similar stuff?
I could do a single malt. Yeah, I've got some malts you'll see tonight. Okay. Definitely. If the consumer has an appetite, I will make a single malt for you.
But I mean, you can create almost all the same flavors with just a single malt.
Yeah.
Based off of
I make a single malt. I make a single malt. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to do a single malt, we can develop one for you.
Okay, but they have to make it on a pot still. You make your stuff on a
We always go through a column still first. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does that make a difference?
It does. I think that the biggest struggle we have when we do single malts is the difference is the actual lauter ton.
Okay.
The single malts typically will remove the husk. And I find if you include a husk in the distillation, it gets an interesting astringent note to it.
Okay.
If I was to do a single malt properly here, I'd probably have to invest some way, somehow, to a lauter ton and do a clear wort.
Okay.
I think that makes the biggest difference from what I can tell.
Okay.
So if those are people that are making hammer milled single malts, that's certainly going to have a different flavor profile than what's traditionally done in Scotland.
Right. Okay. But that you could still, even with a pot still, do this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay. I question. You're the doctor.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Okay. Would you mind going over some of your brands that you guys actually have? Produce here, but obviously you guys produce a lot
for
here,
others.
There's others.
The ones that are for us that we make in house is the JP Wiser's brands of products. JP Wiser's is a blended product. JP Wiser's contains corn and rye. That's the staple to it. And it's largely corn, and it's got some rye in it that really shines through. Our flagship brand is JP Wiser's Deluxe, so that's the traditional style Canadian whiskey, light and smooth, and the majority of folks will drink that with soda some way, somehow. And it's what we call as a double barrel, so it's aged in Canadian whiskey casks and bourbon casks.
Okay.
So it ends up having a nice dried fruit note to the whiskey. Again, nice in a highball.
Yeah.
Elevated from that is one of my favorite whiskeys, and I think will be our flagship brand long term, is our JP Wiser's 10-year-old whiskey.
Got it.
I've upped the rye content in it compared to the Deluxe. I think it hits the sweet spot of what the consumers are looking for, and it won the top Canadian whiskey at the World Whiskey Awards this year for the age 12 years or on.
Nice.
As aged. I mean, I think it's a sweet spot of Canadian whiskey.
Yeah.
It's a triple barrel, so I age it in new wood to help balance out with the rye, the sweet versus the rye spice, and bourbon barrels and Canadian whiskey casks. And in the U.S., it retails for $25. In Canada, it's about $35.
So you can get a 10-year-old.
10-year-old whiskey for $25.
For $25.
It's a beautiful whiskey. It's actually it's my go-to whiskey, quite honestly.
Okay.
And it's one of the fastest growing brands here in Canada, actually, the Wiser's
10-year-old.
And it does quite well in Sweden, of all places in the world.
Sweden, nice.
Of all places, it does quite well.
Okay.
So it's a gorgeous whiskey. And then we've elevated that based on the 10-year-old recipe. I'm designing our other brand. We got a 15-year, an 18-year as well. And then we did some exclusives here in Canada. We did a Wiser's 24-year, 28 and 42-year.
Yes.
Again, all under the same house style. The Wiser's 24-year whiskey won the Canadian Whiskey of the Year just a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Exactly. Right.
And it really showcases some of the barrel finishing that I've done. That 24-year I've aged in Canadian whiskey casks, bourbon casks, Speyside malt casks.
Nice.
Cherry cask, port, and a little bit of peated quarter casks.
Okay.
So you should be able to taste those flavors from all there's little bits. It's not in your face.
Sure. Right.
But those nuances, you should be able to taste that. And out of 200 whiskeys entered this year in the competition, it was number one. It was the Canadian Whiskey of the Year. Yeah, there's 200 whiskeys.
Canadian whiskeys entered. Wow.
And the Wiser's 24-year had won the Canadian Whiskey of the Year.
How many did you guys actually enter? Was it just the one?
About 6 or 7.
Okay.
But
still.
But still, out of everybody across Canada, it rose to the top. So it's a gorgeous whiskey.
Yeah.
So it showcases blending, the Wiser's franchise. We have...
so in that one, the 24,
yeah,
is it the way here that you might actually have some older stock in there than 24 years, but the youngest is 24
the youngest,
years?
that's
okay.
It's like any other whiskey category in the world.
Yes.
Whatever the youngest whiskey is in the blend, that's the age you have to declare it.
Okay.
So we also make a franchise called Lot 40.
Lot 40.
Lot 40.
Is that in the States?
It is in the U.S.
Okay.
And there's 3 truths to Lot 40. It's 100% rye.
Mm-hmm.
It's column and pot distilled, which concentrates up the rye flavors even more and eliminates some of the undesirables by pot distilling it.
Which he showed me, both the column and the pot still.
Yeah, and it's always aged in new wood.
Excellent.
So
Okay, so
that's
lot 40 is always, or at least 100%
always in new,
rye.
100% rye.
All lot 40 is in new wood.
All lot 40 is
Got
in
it.
brand new oak barrels, at least the standard green label and column and pot distilled.
Okay.
I'll often have people that come to this rye whiskey say, I don't really drink rye whiskey, but this one's different. I think it's because of that pot distillation. I know that's a little geeky, but it really, I think what separates this from other rye whiskeys out there. Now, there's some variants that we've made. So there's one that's double aged. It's called Lot 40 Dark Oak.
Okay.
So I've aged it in brand new number 2 cask, and then moved it over to number 4 charred cask.
So it goes from a 2 to a 4.
Goes 2 to a 4.
Usually most people go the other way. Okay.
It doesn't matter. Still, the flavors will still come in.
Sure.
The flavors will still come in.
Okay.
And it's at 48% ABV. Again, a little more elevated brand. And then each year with Lot 40, I'll do a exploration series. So it's 100% rye. It starts out in a new cask, column and pot distilled. And after that new cask, I'll move it to things I like to play with. So we've released one that's been aged in the peated quarter cask, in an Oloroso sherry cask, in a port cask, and I did one in a cherry wood. And there's many others you'll see on the table tonight on the Lot 40 of all the different casks that I'm playing with. So that's a great brand if you really like big, bold style, and especially rye whiskeys.
Right, because again, that's all 100% rye.
Yeah, and then some minor brands we make is Pike Creek, which is a 10-year-old whiskey, and it's all about the finish. Just a small bit of rye. It's mostly corn, but it's all about the barrel finishing, that brand. And the core brand is aged in Caribbean rum casks. Okay, excellent. And it really tastes like a butter tart. If anyone knows what a butter tart is in Canada, pecan pie. It really is very sweet style of rum, whiskey that's aged in rum casks. And we got some small other variants that I've got in Oloroso and et cetera. Okay. And there's
is that available in the States?
That is available in the States, and just selective states. Not everywhere, not everywhere. And the last brand you'll see in the States, again, just selective areas, is a brand called Gooderham and Worts. Okay. And that's a 4-grain whiskey. Okay. So we separate everything, but it just blended at the end. So it's corn, wheat, rye, and barley as the 4 grains. Probably the closest thing we make to a bourbon, actually, in terms of flavor profile. Sure. It's not bourbon, don't get me wrong, but it's probably the flavor profile is designed that way. Yes. So those are our major brands of whiskey that we do make here.
Okay. And then I was surprised and I did not know that. I should have known that, actually, kind of, that you guys actually make Malibu rum here.
Yeah, Malibu rum is made, it's distilled here and blended here. Yeah. It's a very important brand to
one of my favorite flavored rums. I mean,
great in summertime, it
is.
Pineapple juice and rum, coconut rum,
I like taking Malibu rum and putting it with apple juice. And when I told Dr. Don here that I did that, he kind of gave me like this weird look, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Usually it's pineapple juice or soda or something like that. But
no, I'm telling you what, it gives it this apple and the coconut.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It was great.
Well, lots of people love it. Yeah. No, we got a real, like I said, we got a real in-depth team that's designing many different things.
And then you are doing some vodka here. Yeah.
Yep. We do a brand called Polar Ice. Okay. It's exclusive to Canada. Yep. So, but it's one of the big brands of vodka here in Canada. Yeah.
Now, are there any brands of whiskey that you have that are just in Canada that you produce here, or is it kind of
what we've gone over? I mentioned Hiram Walker Special Old earlier. Is just in Canada. There's brands of the Wiser's variants and Lot 40 variants that just remain in Canada as well. I know that's some of the criticism we get. How come the good stuff doesn't come to the U.S.? As your audience knows, it's probably entering into the U.S. with the 3-tiered system and stuff. And they always want case volume. So we work at it, and we have some very selected states we target our brands to. Georgia is one, Florida is another, Michigan is another state, Minnesota. But we kind of do more of a targeted approach. Yes. Texas is one we're trying to make some strides in as well.
I do, but it's usually, like I said,
hit and miss.
It's I guess I'll call it entry level JP Wisers. You see, some of the Lot 40, but I don't. You don't never get the
high end expression
states. But I understand why. I mean, you gotta.
It's difficult and challenging, but we got a good team that's growing for us and spreading the word and doing things like this that I think help people understand what Canadian whiskey is all about.
Can you go over a little bit more, if you don't mind, what I'm in for tonight.
Yes, the Blending 101
Yeah.
is something that...
Well, real quick, how often do you do that? It's at least a couple times a year, I know.
Yeah. So the Blending 101 is something I started probably just prior to COVID, so around 2018 or so. Kind of started it doing with the family and friends of the employees here.
Okay. Yeah.
And so this is really interesting and really cool. So it just kind of evolved, and let's try and see and open it up to the public. So for $100, you can come to the...
and by the way, for those Americans, that's 100 Canadian.
That's 100 Canadian dollars. we only do it here. We make this the destination for people to come and do this, because to put 140 whiskeys out on a table and ship them to somewhere and do it, and there's taxation and excise issues all around it. So it's only done exclusively here.
Correct.
I just have restricted to 20 people. I do it once a quarter, and that's it.
Once a quarter. So 4 times a year.
Four times a year, $100, 20 people. I will line up all on the table. It'll take us about 2 hours to go through this. I start out with a bit of storytelling in the history of Canadian whiskey, and then we get into how each whiskey is made. So you'll get to see before aging what a rye smells like, and what a barley smells like, and what a corn smells like, and what a wheat is like. Because quite often, I think when people look at White Dog it's always mixed grain. This is now separated out, so you're going to get a feel for what each grain contributes to it, and how a pot still changes it versus column distillation of it. So you're going to see that tonight. And then we will get into aging, and we're going to age in used barrels. I'm going to run through what actually happens in a barrel and what aging really does.
Right. Yes.
What that flavor profile and age does. And people get, really? This is what yes, you're going to know what age smells like. And then I'll get into what new wood does to, and when you change and burn a barrel and have a fresh surface versus and used surface. And we're going to get into barrel finishing. Barrel acts like a sponge, so what was in the barrel beforehand is going to come out in your product. So you'll get to see all my finishing experiments where it's aged in bourbon barrels or wheated bourbon casks and rum casks. And I got ones where inserts have gone into the cask, so they burnt sticks a certain way to get certain flavors. And then I've got some barrels where they pop the top off of the used Canadian whiskey cask and then line the inside with different wood.
Right.
So I got some hickory and black walnut and things like that. Red oak, that's made that way. And then you're going to get into wine casks, and then you're going to start it all over again. You're going to get into ryes and barleys and wheats, all in the same different types of casks and all different ages. And it does add up in a hurry as to what you have. So they're all barrel pulls. And at the end of going through all of those, I let you have at it, and then you can pick as many bottles and casks you want, and you can design your own whiskey.
Wow. I'm so looking forward to it.
You get to make your own whiskey. You get to play me.
I played at the place I was telling you about in Dallas many times, and that's only with 3.
Yeah.
And that's again with
it's overwhelming, Chris.
It is.
I'm not going to lie to you. It is overwhelming. That's the point. Is that making whiskey is complicated, and I think that's what people will get it for, is an appreciation night. So wow. This is really, really.
I mean, it's complicated, but at the same time, I mean, I guess if you just look at Scotch, you're working with 3 ingredients with Scotch, just in particular. And I know you're working with many more ingredients,
but that's where you're going to see.
But you can do so many different things with it.
Blending is beautiful, and I love creativity. Yeah, you can tell I love creativity.
Yeah,
and I firmly believe that Canadian whiskey is the most innovative, creative, adaptable style of whiskey there is. All we have to do is be made of grain, fermented, aged, and distilled in Canada, aged in a wooden cask of less than 700 liters for a minimum of 3 years and a minimum of 40% alcohol. That's it. They don't tell us how to distill it.
Yes.
Column stills, pot stills, they don't tell us what strength to distill to. They don't tell us the barrel type. New wood, used wood, cherry, maple, whatever I want to use, and they don't hold us to a mash bill.
Yeah,
they don't hold us, and that, you know what?
It gives you freedom.
It gives me freedom. That makes Canadian whiskey diverse. Isn't that Canada?
Yeah.
I really think the whiskey category here matches us as a people, as a nation.
Yeah.
I can go in so many different directions. I can be so creative. I can be so innovative, and I can adapt. I can adapt flavor. I don't know what you want to drink 10 years from now, Chris.
But you can adapt and make that much easier than an American producer could.
Yeah, I'd make a mash bill.
I would say so.
Like I'd make a mash bill if you really told me what you want to drink 10 years from now. I'd make a mash bill.
Right, but will that really be what I want 10 years from now?
You don't know. You don't know what you want to drink 10 minutes from now.
Exactly right. Yes. So that's
10 years.
That's where I'm going. Is the way you guys do it? It's actually brilliant, and I mean that. It's just it allows you to truly tailor it.
Yeah.
Like almost on the spot.
And when you brought up AI earlier, can AI be involved? Maybe.
Yeah.
Is that where whiskey's going to go down the road? Customization somehow. I don't know.
Right.
You could customize it and send it to your house.
Yeah. Right.
Could you imagine that day?
Yeah, right?
Drop it off by drone. I don't know.
I only want 2 or 3 bottles of this, and then it brings it to you. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible philosophy, the way Canadian whiskey has ended up.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not the only Canadian distiller that does this. I know others, at least the large ones, will do similar things. But they'll have their own nuance. They'll have their own distillation equipment and cut points and barrel types, and they have their own environment. Aging in your own environment can change your whiskey as well. Is it colder or warmer? Or I mean, those are all different factors that each house style in Canada can play with.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because it's how you're aging stuff here is way different than how we're aging stuff in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, just from a heat perspective.
Sure.
We're hotter a lot longer the year than you guys are here.
That influences a lot of things. I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
Again, it's a wonderful category to play in, and I'm excited about it. I love telling the message that we bring to the world. And to all the Uskaphiles out there. I don't know. I made up that word, by the way, is Uskaphile.
Uskaphile.
Well, there's no word for whiskey lover.
That's true.
There's a word for a wine lover. It's eonophile.
Eonophile, yeah.
There's a word for a beer lover.
Eonophile, yeah.
Eonophile. And a xanthophile is a beer.
Uskaphile, love it.
So when I wrote my books, I wanted to dedicate the books to all the whiskey lovers out there, and I tried to look up the word. There's not one in the dictionary. So I made one up, and I wrote it in my book.
There you go.
Uskabeta, water life.
That's right.
It's the root word for Uska. Uska turned into whiskey.
Yes.
And I said, that should be a whiskey lover.
I love it. I'm actually I'm gonna pirate that one from you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've wrote it in journal articles. Absolutely. It's on my Twitter handle. It's on my Instagram handle and everything else. Uskaphile. There's lots of Uskaphiles out there.
There are. Yes.
And I don't know why we don't have a word.
And I am going to now have to dive deep into some Canadian whiskey.
We will tonight, for sure.
Yes, definitely. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And so appreciate you taking a bit of your day today, showing me around, having this nice little discussion. And again, I'll if possible, I'll probably take some B-roll. I'll call it B-roll of the thing tonight.
Definitely.
And maybe have a quick discussion with you while we're in there too.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Awesome.
That'll be a fun night.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
Looking forward to tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you.
And I want to thank Dr. Livermore for taking some time and having a chat with me during my recent trip to Detroit. Please follow him on Instagram as he puts on a quarterly blending event at the distillery that all who love whiskey should attend. You will not be disappointed. I promise you will not be disappointed. Follow him on Instagram. I do believe it's CDN Whiskey Doc. So follow him. Look for the quarterly blend, and if you have to, reach out to the distillery, and they can help you, especially in the United States, because it takes a little bit to be able to get signed up. But it's worth it. Trust me. It's worth it. Okay. Now, this is a segment I like to call, What is Chris Putting in His Mouth? Well, firstly, I want to say this is going to be a little bit different this week because I've also started writing a column in Whiskey Network magazine called Puff and Pour. And this month I did a pairing. So I'm doing a whiskey pairing with cigars. And this month I did a pairing with the Filmland Spirits. If you can see that. Filmland Spirits. White Port Wolf. Moonlight Mayhem 2 White Port Wolf, which is a wonderful, wonderful bourbon. with the new McAuliffe White Label, McAuliffe Cigars White Label. Again, truly, truly wonderful, wonderful cigar. So, again, this week we're going to do things just a bit different. So, listen up, cats and kittens and white rabbit chasers. Grab your white satin robes and dim the lights because we're about to get funkier than Barry White's deepest bass line. We are officially inducting 2 new heavy hitters into the legendary White Hall of Fame. This pairing is tighter than Reggie White's defensive line, has more soul than a White City block party. Forget the White House White and put down that White Zinfandel. We're going deep into the White Room where the shadows dance and the flavor howls. The pour, Filmland Spirits, right here. Again, Filmland Spirits, White Port Wolf. This isn't just a bourbon. It's a Technicolor B-movie creature featured in a bottle. Aged for 7 years and finished in a rare white port cask, this White Port Wolf has more layers than an E.B. White metaphor and more grit than a Walter White chemistry lesson. The vibe, imagine Jack White shredding a psychedelic solo on the White House lawn. It's got that indie edge with a cinematic polish. The script, on the nose, you're greeted with sweet citrus and a mysterious touch of licorice. Once it hits your tongue, it's a moonlight transformation. Creamy vanilla and spicy cardamom collide like Shaun White's sticking a triple cork. The finale, the finish is an earthy terror of terroir, plot twist, grassy undertones, and roasted hazelnut that linger longer than the suspense in a white heat noir. At 94 proof, it's dangerously drinkable. The smoke. McAuliffe Cigars White Label. If this cigar were a car, it'd be a pristine chrome-grilled beauty from the White Motor Company, cruising down a sun-drenched boulevard. As a new addition to the McAuliffe Color Series, it is as elegant and dependable as Vanna White turning a winning vowel. The vibe. This is Nights in White Satins of Cigars. Silky, ethereal, and soulful. Clad in a golden Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, it is bright and clean as fresh white sands dunes. The script, it starts with a mellow buttery grove of toasted nuts and cedar that would make E.B. White wax poetic. Unlike your average mild stick, it's got a Connecticut broadleaf binder that gives it backbone stronger than a Snow White hero. The finale, as you reach the final third, a white wedding of flavors occurs. Subtle white pepper and creamy custard notes that never turn bitter. It's a white Christmas morning in every puff. The final verdict on a scale of White Claw on Tuesday to White Castle on 3 a.m. This is certified moonlight mayhem in the best possible way. The McAuliffe White Label brings the smooth sophistication of a Vanna White entrance. The Filmland White Port Wolf brings the wild cinematic soul of a Jack White riff. And together they throw the kind of white party that makes even the White House jealous. It's more thrilling than a white out in the mountains and smoother than Barry White on a summer night. This duo proves that while white men can't jump, they certainly know how to distill and roll. Whether you're hiding out in Whitechapel or lounging in the White Sands, add these to the official white canon immediately. They've earned their spot with flying colors, or should I say, with flying shades of creamy, moonlit, wolf-howling white. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, end of the show. All right, here we go. As always, I want to thank you for joining me on this amazing journey to learn all that I can about these 3 amazing industries. I hope that you were able to learn something new from this episode, but more importantly, I hope that you were entertained and will continue to listen or watch the program moving forward. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, like the video, please like the video, leave comments, and please spread the word to your friends and family. I will always love having new followers. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And I believe we're going to be adding Truth Social and a few others to the mix also very soon. If you wouldn't mind, please leave a review as that helps the algorithm help other people find the channel. Also, please let me know of any ideas you would like to hear about or see me cover in upcoming episodes, and I will see what I can conjure up. I will see you next week on the Whiskey and Smoke News Network. And remember, please drink and smoke responsibly. Have a good day.